Hello friends, welcome to CloudBuy. In today's sessions, I'm going to discuss how to connect to the AWS RDS DB instance using IAM authentications, using the command line like the AWS CLI and MySQL client. So here are the high-level steps I'll be showing today. At first, I'll be creating a AWS RDS MySQL database, and mostly this demo I'll be showing in the two part. The first part I'll be showing you the how to connect from a client machine using by generating a IAM authentication token and connecting to the database. And the second part I'll show you that how to allow other users to connect to an Amazon RDS MySQL database using their IAM credentials only. Okay, and the associated parts required for these steps. So at the beginning, this is the common for the both the procedures. At the beginning, I will going to create a MySQL database, and then I will connect to the database, create some user, grant some privileges, and then we'll proceed with this creating the token, then how you can connecting to the database without the passwords. Okay, so let's proceed. So at the beginning, this is my client machine, and then I already configured this. AWS configure is already there. So, and I am already having this the privileges to create the MySQL database. So the first steps, I am going to create the MySQL database. So this is the command I am going to use. So only the this is the same thing from AWS CLI command, but only the things is little bit special that I am enabling this IAM database authentication, which will allow me to create a AWS RDS token and use these things instead of putting the passwords. So the database, if I'll go back to the RDS console, you can see that my database is creating. So this might take 1 or 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. So I'll come back once it is done. Thank you. The database, MySQL database is now available. So let me do the rest of the steps. The beginning, I'll get some details to connect to the database and to perform the rest of the steps. Like I will first check this the endpoint address. This will require for connecting to the database. Yeah, and I'll also get the resource ID. This will be required for creating a IAM profile. Okay, so let me connect now. I'll set this MySQL path, and now I am trying to connect. Okay. I can connect to the database. At the beginning, let me create a database called tsdb. Okay, now I am going to create a user and grant some privilege. Okay, let me create a user called CloudVi. Okay, and I have to provide some grants. Okay, and the last one, some privileges. Got it. Now on the next steps, I have what I did until now. I created this database, connect to the database, create a user and grant privileges. And now in this step, we are now going to discuss about that generating this IAM DB authentications. Since it will be user can authenticate using the IAM DB authentications, not through the username and passwords. So here the steps it will be required. Like the first steps, I am going to we need some kind of IAM profile for this particular newly created DB user. For our case, it is CloudVi. Then I am going to create this DB auth token. Then we'll also create the SSL certificate. This is kind of optional, but yes, we'll going to create the SSL certificate for connections. And then in the last steps, we'll going to connect this the database using this the token. So let's proceed. So I'm just going into this console, and I'll go to the IAM and then go to the profiles. I'll create profile, go to the JSON, and I have to put this IAM profile here. So if you can scroll down, if you can see, I have already created something. I have to only change the two things. I have to change the DB username and the resource ID. Okay, the resource ID I already collected from here. So this is the resource ID. So I'm going to change it. And the username is CloudVi. So this is something it is allow, the only the allow action is the DB connect, and this is the particular resource. So review policy. Okay, I believe this is, we have not copied this. Okay. Okay, let me put this name as a CloudVi policy and create policy. Okay, the policy is created. The next steps, I am going to create a DB auth token. The command is, I have somewhat prepared the command. So only the things I have to change the host name, the endpoint. This is the endpoint. I'm going to copy and replace the endpoint. Okay. Next other thing is the port is 3306, region is East 1, the username is CloudVi. Okay, we can get the token here, but this is the we are not going to use this token directly. So what we are going to do that here, I'm going to put a say host. I'll use some variables here, so and I'm going to use these things as a part of the variable. Now I'm going to create a token as a variable. So if I echo the token, you can see the authentication token is here. Steps, now I'm going to create a download the SSL certificates. So I'm going to create, I'm using this called the wget script. Okay, let me change the name of these things. Okay, you can see that certificate is now downloaded. So I'm going to use the same certificate while connecting to the database. Now I have to log into the database, and then I'm going to connect now. Okay, now I'm going to set it as my temp directory, and name is let me check this. Its name is sar.pm. Okay, you can see this enable clear test plugin. This argument is required. Let me put and password is token. Hopefully this will work. It says server authentication certificates verify failed. Earlier ones failed because I put my variable as a host, now as a RDS host. That's why it's failed. Hopefully it should work. Yes, it's working. Show databases. Yeah, I'll use my database testdb. That's great. So the first one is working. That means I can able to use my IAM DB authentication token from my client machine. On the second part of it, I will to allow other users. So what I will do, suppose this is an applications where this database is MySQL database, and my applications is running, the application tile is running from a EC2 machine. So one of our users who wants to connect to the database and to do some kind of work or any kind of process, so I am going to provide him the token so that he can connect without the passwords. And on that one thing you have to mind, this thing, this token is available, it's valid for 15 minutes only. So on the next steps, I am going to create a EC2 machine. Here we are going to need some kind of additional privileges, like I need a profile, and then I have to create a role on that. Then I have to assign this role to this EC2 machine so that I can do the rest of the steps. So these steps, I am first going to create a IAM role, and then create a EC2 machine, attach the IAM role to the EC2 machines, and connect to the DB using the token. So the first steps, let me create a EC2 machine very quickly. So I am going to create a EC2 machine now. Launch instance. So default should be good. Okay. In the meantime, I'll go to my IAM. I have to create a role on that. Go to the role, create role. For this create role, since it will be the role I have to connect to the from the EC2 machine, I'll choose as a common use case as the EC2. Then permissions. Since this role is for RDS, the easiest thing is that you can give this RDS full access, but I am not going to give this RDS full access. So what I will do is I will give the RDS read-only access and maybe the data full access, and then review, maybe I'll put the role name as a cloud by RDS role, and create role. On the next steps, what I have to do these things, I have to allow previously created this profile for this particular DB user. I have to allow this thing include this particular policy into the role. So I'll just create the add internal role. Let's go to the JSON, and now I'm going to take these things. All the things I have to change again the username and the resource ID. The resource ID is this is the resource ID. I'll copy from my previous session. Okay. Okay, so what I did, I put cloud by policy. So what I did, create a role and given some kind of RDS access to the EC2 instance, so that EC2 can do some kind of actions to the RDS, and then also I have added the policy which having this policy to connect to the DB instance for this resource as a cloud by. This is the database user. So let's go back to the EC2 machine. My EC2 should be up and running. I am going to connect to the EC2 now. Okay. So I have to this EC2 machine I have to create this MySQL client here, install the MySQL client. So let me install the MySQL client. Okay, so let me check this whether it's there in path. Yes, it does. So what I did, I created the IAM roles, I have created the EC2 machines. Now I have to attach this IAM role to this EC2. So go back here, go to the action, instance settings, attach replace IAM role. my role name is cloud by RDS role, attach code. So similarly I have to put this install this SSL certificates if I going to connect to the SSL from my EC2 machine. So I'm connecting. So I've installed this SSL certificate / temp. Now I'll do the similar things. This is the endpoint address. Okay. Since I have not configured my key here, so I have to put the region. Okay, and now I am going to check my similar query I am going to run to get the resource ID. Okay. Okay, now similarly let me put this host, put the variable as a host. This is my variable, and I'll also put this token as so this is the token. Now I'll connect it the same way, only the thing is that this time my name is rds.pm. Yeah, I am doing the same mistake, because you can see this in the copy paste, since my host variable is host, not the RDS host. So yeah, it can connect. Show databases, use TSDB. Well, that concludes the second way of connection. Thank you.